Imagine that what you call random is not random at all. Pain, crises, losses, even the people who irritate you most, not glitches in reality, but part of a pattern. And not a pattern against you, a pattern working through you. Carl Gustav Jung offered a perspective that can feel unsettling at first. Life is not simply something that happens to you. It unfolds through you, through your psyche, your choices, your blind spots, and your unfinished inner work. At first, that can sound like a poetic idea, but taken seriously, it changes the meaning of suffering. Because if life is speaking through patterns, then what repeats is not meaningless, it is information. Jung spent decades studying dreams, crises, and the strange coincidences people experience at turning points. He noticed something many of us feel intuitively but struggle to articulate. Life often feels symbolic, not because the universe is writing a script in the sky, but because the psyche has its own language, and that language is repetition. One of Jung's central ideas can be stated simply: until you bring the unconscious into awareness, it directs your life, and you call it fate. In other words, it is not you choosing the same pain again and again. It is your unconscious repeating the same story, changing the scenery, but keeping the same emotional plot. Why am I drawn to people who hurt me? Why do I sabotage myself when I get close to success? Why do I feel anxiety even when nothing seems wrong? From a Jungian lens, the question is not, what is wrong with me? It is, what is still unseen in me? We are not born psychologically conscious. We enter life without an instruction manual. At first, we react, we adapt, we survive. We learn what gets approval, we learn what creates conflict, we learn what to hide. And then life begins to press on those hidden areas: childhood wounds, first love, loss, failure, betrayal, burnout. Not as punishments, but as challenges that force the psyche to reveal what was buried. This is why Jung did not see suffering as meaningless. He saw it as a signal that the inner world is demanding attention. And here is the shift. Life is not only an external journey, it is an inner process expressed through outer events. So the question becomes, if your life keeps repeating a theme, what is it asking you to learn? Sometimes people notice this in the form of meaningful coincidence, a dream that feels too precise, a meeting that changes your direction, a sentence in a book that appears at the exact moment you needed it. Jung called this synchronicity, a meaningful coincidence between inner state and outer event. It is not proof of magic. It is a way of describing those moments when the world seems to mirror an inner process. And when you begin to notice this, life stops feeling purely random. It starts to feel like a dialogue. Not necessarily a dialogue with the universe, but a dialogue between your conscious mind and what remains unconscious. Because the unconscious does not speak in arguments, it speaks in symbols, dreams, repeated situations, recurring emotional reactions. The same conflict in different relationships, the same fear in different careers, the same self-doubt in different opportunities. If you want to understand the pattern, Jung would suggest this: do not only ask what happened, ask what story you are living inside. Jung believed that each person lives within a kind of myth, an inner narrative that interprets reality. This myth forms early from experience, trauma, family roles, cultural expectations, and invisible rules. Over time, it becomes an internal script. Some people live as victims. Nothing works for me. People always leave. I'm always alone. Some live as heroes who must constantly prove themselves. I must win or I am nothing. Some live as caretakers who disappear into self-sacrifice. I must save everyone, even if it destroys me. The events may change, but the interpretation remains loyal to the same myth. And until the myth becomes conscious, it governs your life. So a crisis, in Jung's view, is often not punishment. It is an invitation. Midlife collapse, loss, illness, a breakdown, a sudden emptiness after achievement. These moments can feel like failure, but Jung saw them as thresholds, entry points into a deeper stage of development. He called this process individuation, the slow movement toward becoming a whole person, not a role, not a mask, not a function, whole. At first, we build the ego, an identity that helps us survive, a name, a reputation, a profession, goals, social belonging. This is necessary. But at some point, life demands more than a well-managed persona. It demands authenticity. And when the old identity can no longer hold the weight of the inner truth, it breaks. That breaking is painful, but it can also be the beginning of something real. This brings us to the most uncomfortable part of Jung's work. What you refuse to see in yourself will rule you. Inside each of us, there are qualities we reject: anger, envy, fear, need, desire, vulnerability, ambition, sexuality, weakness, power. Not because they are bad, but because at some point we learned they were unsafe. Jung called this rejected territory the shadow. The shadow is not only darkness, it can also contain strength you were never allowed to own. Courage, confidence, spontaneity, a healthy selfishness, a clear no. When these parts remain unconscious, they do not disappear. They operate indirectly. They show up as sudden reactions, as sabotage, as compulsions, as attraction to the same destructive type of person, as irritation towards specific people. And this is where projection enters. We condemn in others what we cannot tolerate in ourselves. We are triggered by confidence because we disowned our own power. We resent selfishness because we live in chronic self-erasure. We judge arrogance because we fear being seen. In that sense, the people who provoke you are not always your enemies. Often they are mirrors. Not because they are right, but because your reaction is revealing something about you. So Jung did not recommend fighting the shadow as if it were a monster. He recommended making it conscious, because what becomes conscious can be integrated. What stays unconscious becomes fate. Now, there is another structure that complicates everything: the persona. Jung used persona to describe the social mask, the identity you wear to function, to belong, to be acceptable. A persona is not evil, it is necessary. But when you identify with it completely, you lose contact with the deeper self. This is where many people experience a quiet, disturbing emptiness. I did everything right. I achieved what I was supposed to achieve, and yet, this does not feel like my life. From a Jungian lens, this emptiness is not random depression of meaning. It is a signal. Life cannot nourish a mask. It can only nourish what is real. And that brings us to the self. For Jung, the self is the deeper center of the psyche, not the ego, not the role, not the image. The self is not your perfect spiritual version. It is the totality of who you are: light and shadow, fear and strength, longing and truth. Individuation is the movement toward that center, not by becoming flawless, but by becoming whole. This is why Jung's work can sound provocative. The purpose of life is not constant happiness, it is wholeness. Not endless comfort, but honesty. Not permanent positivity, but depth. Not escaping pain, but understanding what it reveals. So what does this mean in practice? It means that repeated patterns are not proof you are cursed. They are proof you are human, and that something in you wants to become conscious. It means your crises may not be the end. They may be thresholds, moments where the persona cracks and the deeper self tries to emerge. And it means the most powerful question is no longer, why is this happening to me? It becomes, what is this trying to show me? Look at your life, the themes that repeat, the relationships that follow the same script, the fears that return even after success, the moments when everything collapsed and something new began. What if none of it was meaningless? What if life has been speaking to you through pattern, symbol, and repetition, not to punish you, but to awaken you? This is not a promise, it is an invitation. To notice the myth you are living, to recognize your shadow, to loosen the mask. to return slowly to your center. Because in Jung's view, the more conscious you become, the less your life is driven by unseen forces, and the more it becomes truly yours.